Until one day, he finally answered. Every Sunday at exactly 6:00 p.m., Helen called her son, and every Sunday, she heard the same thing. "Hi, you've reached Michael. Please leave a message." Helen would smile. "It's okay," she would whisper. "He's probably busy." Then she would leave the same message. "Hi, sweetheart. It's Mom. Just wanted to hear your voice. Call me when you get a chance." And every Sunday, she waited. Helen was 78 years old. She lived alone in a small house in Pennsylvania. Her husband, George, had passed away 7 years earlier. After his death, the house became quieter, but Helen still had her son, Michael, her only child. When Michael was young, Helen had been his whole world. She packed his school lunches. She waited outside his baseball games. She stayed awake when he was sick. She helped him with homework. And when he left for college, she cried for 3 days. Michael used to call her every night, sometimes for an hour, sometimes only for 5 minutes. But he always called. Then he got married. Then he got a job. Then came children. Then came a mortgage. Then came meetings. Then came responsibilities. And somehow, the calls became less frequent. First, every day, then every few days, then once a week, then only on special occasions. Helen never complained. Whenever Michael apologized, she always said, "Don't worry about me," and she meant it. At least she wanted to mean it. One Sunday evening, Helen sat in her favorite chair. She placed her phone on the table. 6 p.m., she called Michael. No answer. 15, nothing. 45, still nothing. At 7:30, Helen put the phone down. Then she whispered, "He'll call tomorrow." But tomorrow came, and he didn't. Neither did Tuesday or Wednesday. On Thursday, Helen received a text. "Sorry, Mom, crazy week. I'll call Sunday." Helen smiled. She typed, "Okay, sweetheart. Love you." Then she stared at the message for a moment. She almost added, "I miss you," but she deleted it. She didn't want to make him feel guilty. Sunday came at 6:00 p.m. Helen called again. No answer. This time, she didn't leave a message. She simply put the phone down. Then she looked at an old photograph sitting beside her. It showed Michael. At 12 years old, he was wearing a baseball uniform. Helen was standing beside him. Michael had his arm around her on the back of the photograph. Helen had written, "My boy." She touched the photograph gently. "Where did you go?" She whispered, not physically. She knew where he lived. She meant, where did the little boy who needed his mother go? That night, Helen couldn't sleep. She walked downstairs, made tea, sat at the kitchen table, and looked at her phone. Nothing. Then, she did something she hadn't done in years. She opened an old box. Inside were Michael's childhood things. A tiny baseball glove, his first school report, a birthday card, a faded drawing, and a small handwritten note. It said, "Mom, when I grow up, I'm going to buy you a big house." Helen laughed through her tears. "You never did." Then she smiled. "I never needed one." The next morning, Helen woke up feeling unusually tired. She made coffee, but she couldn't finish it. She sat on the sofa, then closed her eyes. For the first time, she realized something. She wasn't angry at Michael. She wasn't even disappointed. She was simply lonely. And sometimes loneliness isn't about having nobody. It's about missing one particular person, the person you would choose over everyone else. That afternoon, Helen's neighbor Linda knocked on the door. "Are you okay?" Helen smiled. "I'm fine." Linda looked at her. "You always say that." Helen laughed. "Because it's true." Linda sat beside her. "When did Michael last visit?" Helen became quiet. "A few months ago." "Does he call?" Helen looked down. "Sometimes." Linda understood. She didn't ask anything else. Instead, she said, "Come over for dinner tonight." Helen smiled. "I don't want to bother you. You're not bothering me." And that evening, Helen had dinner with Linda's family. There were children running around. Someone spilled juice. Someone laughed. The television was too loud. It was chaotic. It was noisy. It was wonderful. When Helen returned home that night, she realized how much she had missed ordinary noise. The next Sunday at 6 p.m., she didn't call Michael. She waited. 6:30. Then, at 6:42, her phone rang. Helen froze. She looked at the screen. "Michael." Her hands began shaking. She answered, "Hello? Mom?" Helen smiled. "Hi, sweetheart. I'm sorry." She closed her eyes. "It's okay." "No, Mom." His voice sounded different, tired, emotional. "I've been a terrible son." Helen didn't know what to say. "Why are you saying that?" "Because I realized something." "What?" "I kept telling myself I'd call tomorrow." Helen was silent. Michael continued, "I kept thinking there would always be another Sunday." Helen's eyes filled with tears. Then he said, "But yesterday..." His voice broke. "I found the old baseball glove you kept." Helen smiled. "You still remember that?" "I remember everything." There was silence. Then Michael whispered, "Mom, do you still have that photograph?" "What photograph?" "The one of us at my baseball game." Helen looked toward the mantel. "Yes, I want to see it." Helen laughed softly. "Why?" "Because I want to remember who I was." Helen's tears finally fell. "You were a good boy." Michael laughed through his tears. "Was?" "You're still my boy." Silence. Then Michael said, "Mom." "Yes? Can I come tomorrow?" Helen didn't answer immediately. She was afraid that if she spoke, she would cry. Finally, she said, "I'd like that." The next afternoon, there was a knock at the door. Helen walked slowly toward it. She opened the door. Michael was standing there. He looked older. His hair had started turning gray. He held flowers in one hand and a grocery bag in the other. "Hi, Mom." Helen smiled. "Hi, sweetheart." For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Michael hugged her. Helen closed her eyes. She held him tightly, just like she had when he was a little boy. "I missed you," she whispered. "I missed you too." They went into the kitchen. Michael unpacked the groceries. "I brought everything you like." Helen smiled. "You didn't have to." "No." He looked at her. "I wanted to." They cooked dinner together. Helen told him stories from his childhood. Michael laughed. "Mom, I don't remember doing that." "You don't remember anything." "I remember you." Helen stopped. "What?" "I remember you." He looked around the kitchen. "I remember coming home from school and knowing you would be here." "I remember you waiting for me." "I remember you sitting beside me when I was sick." "I remember you coming to every game." Helen wiped her eyes. "I just did what mothers do." Michael shook his head. "No, you did everything." That evening, Michael found the old box. He opened it. Inside was the little note he had written as a child. He read it. Then he looked at his mother. "You kept this?" Helen smiled. "Of course." Michael looked at the note. "When I grow up, I'm going to buy you a big house." He laughed. "I never did." Helen took his hand. "You gave me something better." "What?" "You came home." Michael's eyes filled with tears. He hugged his mother again, and this time, Helen didn't let go quickly, because sometimes parents don't need their children to fix everything. They don't need expensive gifts. They don't need perfect words. They just want to know they haven't been forgotten. After that day, Michael started visiting every Sunday. Sometimes he brought his children. Sometimes he came alone. Sometimes they ate dinner. Sometimes they sat quietly. And sometimes Helen simply watched him from the kitchen window. She didn't need anything else. Years later, Michael would tell his own children, "If Grandma calls you, answer. Even if you're busy, even if you're tired, even if you only have 5 minutes, answer, because one day, you may give anything in the world just to hear that voice again." So if your mother or father still calls you, don't look at it as an interruption. It may be the most precious call you will ever receive, because there are some voices you don't realize how much you need until you're no longer able to answer them. And sometimes, the person waiting on the other end of the phone isn't asking for anything. They just want to hear you say, "Hi, Mom," or "Hi, Dad." And sometimes that's enough to make their whole week feel less lonely.